Hello, everybody. My name is Alex, host of the Grid Shift podcast. Welcome back. Very excited for today's episode. As always, want to let you guys know we are sponsored by Profit Access AI. I'm the CEO and founder of that company. We came up with the vision for the podcast, but we help companies implement AI solutions and really ultimately scale their revenue. So make sure you connect with all of our guests. Today, we have a very special guest, which I'll get into in just a second. I'll leave his link, his website, and everything about his bio in the description section below the podcast. So make sure you check that out and connect. And make sure you stick around until the end because, as always, we will have a link for you to get a free AI assessment and see how maybe we could help your business. So, without further ado, I'm very excited to welcome Ted from Supercharge. So, Ted, how you doing today?
Very good, Alex. Thank you. Thanks for the introduction and pleasure to be on your show.
Awesome. So, to give everyone kind of an idea, Ted spent nearly 2 decades in aviation, and then he transitioned into the EV infrastructure around 2020, building from the ground up. So he's exactly what we love on our podcast here: founder, CEO, entrepreneur minded. We had a little bit of a pre-conversation, and it was really, really fun. Ted is very easy to talk to, so I'm excited to have him here today. But Ted, just start by opening a little bit about you, your background, and what you're doing now with Supercharge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, originally I'm from New York City, born and raised in Queens. Spent 42 years, lived in Manhattan for a couple of years. Then I moved out to Chicago a few years, and most recently into Denver, Colorado, the last 6 years. And I spent close to 25 years in aviation. I piloted the airlines for about 19 years and moved into the space of I want to be entrepreneurial, start my own company. And my natural passion for systems, for electrics, hydraulics, pneumatics, kind of led me into the EV charging space. And here I am today. We started in March 2020. It's been a wild ride, but we're making tremendous progress going forwards.
Wonderful. And we'll dive into that a little bit, but I do want to ask because I think it's interesting how you took such a shift. I mean, that's a completely different change from, being that long as a pilot in aviation. And so if I remember correctly, you had told me like basically that first year was you really understanding the landscape, almost like you were doing a SWOT analysis on the industry as seeing if it was the right opportunity. And so I do want to ask, what did you see early on that told you, hey, this is the right opportunity and I'm going to burn my ships and go all in?
Yeah, I think initially, you have to have the bug or a passion for something, right? And since I love systems and the whole concept of something, was electric and it was what excited to me. It was pioneering, to be honest. I spoke to a lot of people who were successful business people, and they're like, "Hey, maybe it's too early. This will work maybe in a few years. Don't waste your time." To be honest, that was the advice I got. But I was like, when people tell me, I was attracted to it. It was me. It was my personality, and so I dove into it. And like I said, the first year I really took my time to understand what is this space, where is it at, where is it going, who the first. Obviously, Tesla was the first of the market there. But seeing the competitive landscape, right? It's a traditional SWOT analysis: strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threats. So I saw who the competitors are. I saw who the manufacturers were, the hardware, the software, again, the competitors. And once I knew the landscape, then I took the next step, which was to find properties and become an owner operator. And through that process, I found out all these different revenue streams that I could do and hit every vertical in the space. And that's where I am today. So
Fantastic. And we definitely already connected on this a little bit, but with my background in manufacturing and operations and things of that nature, you touched on systems and really I like to call them disciplines. A lot of people call them that as well. So with you transitioning from aviation, right? Obviously, there's a lot of systems, there's a ton of precision, there's a lot of discipline involved in that. How has that really influenced you as how you've built and how you operate your company today?
well, absolutely. My previous experience, there's the technical side of it, right? Multiple systems, understanding that, time management, decision making, there's so many facets of my background that helped me as an entrepreneur running my business day to day. Um, I dived into the space. I wanted to manufacture chargers, actually. That's kind of, I spent some time in that space I spent a year and a half going into that space, but realized there was a significant, anything manufactured requires significant capital. And from the ground up, that would just be a significant undertaking. And I was too busy building the owner operating model. So, but things shift and change and move constantly. And that's business. People think that you just set and go, but it's not the case. Today, tomorrow could be something things change and you have to kind of pivot and move all the time.
Absolutely. No, and I think what you said a few minutes ago about how like that was something you were passionate about, right? You felt like you felt it internally. I think that's so important for entrepreneurs. I think that's what makes all of us a little bit different. And I do remember from the last call, and I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit,
Yeah.
but you said to me, you said there were 2 years where all I was doing was just knocking on doors and finding, more people to get Supercharge out there. What did that phase really teach you with how to actually get deals done, right? Because a lot of people are afraid to just go out and bet on themselves and take a chance. So what did that really teach you going out and, I mean, literally door knocking?
Accepting a no, getting rejected constantly in a really harsh and bad way, and literally just picking yourself up, I knocked on in the 2 year period, I'd say about 40 locations that I knocked on, and on top of that, maybe twice as many as that, which were just immediate no's, but 40 that were kind of no, it wasn't an immediate no, maybe took some work, additional calls and things like that. But out of those, let's say 100 calls, I got 2 that stuck. Just to show you the amount of you do learn to build resiliency, and you'll find out very quickly in business as an entrepreneur that the obstacles and the roadblocks ahead, if you give up or if you quit, you weren't passionate about it, you didn't believe in yourself or in the business in the first place. Does that make sense?
100%.
Out of those 100 calls, let's say I got one opportunity, but that was 17 months of negotiating. Proposal, send us this, send us that, let's have a meeting. Here's access to our electric bill. It was site visit upon site visit, manager, account executive, VP. These are big corporate real estate groups, and they're testing me out. I'm testing them out. But that deal ended up not working for 17 months. And then when I had nothing, I had a miracle, and I had a better opportunity that came up, like literally 2 months later, where I had access to a phenomenal, much better property downtown Denver. And so, like I said, ebb and flow, up and down. It's a roller coaster. Just don't give up. Just keep fighting. If you have a really bad day, keep going. Make another 10 calls. Just and document everything. I have an Excel sheet, every call I made, what last touch, what happened, things like that. But yeah, just keep going, keep fighting. Nothing is black and white. Everything's fluid. It's constantly changing. It's gray. A no is a yes to me, until you actually say, don't call me back, I won't call back. But if they don't, let time pass by and then reach out again. And so that was, those 2 years was very challenging because no revenue, right? Believe it or not, I was spending money because I had to make, this is before AI was, ChatGPT was out or anything like that, but I had to make proposals. I had to make it myself. I had to make pitch decks. I never did a pitch deck before. I've got a dozen pitch decks. I've gotten really good at that. So I learned all these skills along the way, which helped me today dramatically with the business today. So, and now I've built a skill set with negotiating, with approaches, and how I know what property owners, what they like, what they don't like. So it's all building blocks and learning, and then building on those successes.
No, absolutely. And I think something big for me that what you just said resonated with me, because you have to fall in love with the process and not the results. If you fall in love with the process, and you're a clear example of that, most people, they give up too soon. They give up within a year, and it's that persistence and that learning. And I love what Bruce Lee says. He says, "Be like water."
Yeah.
And that's really like the flow and the ebbs and flows and the up and down. Like, but water can be powerful in different states. It can be fluid, it can be soft, it can be hard. And so I just really like how you touched on that, because that's the truth about all of it. And for some of our younger audience that's just kind of getting things off the ground, fall in love with the process. When I know Ted just talked about that, but for me as well, when I started forgetting about the result and just falling in love with the process and being persistent and just getting up every day fired up, the results will come. I promise you they will come. So I really want to get into a little bit of system thinking. I know we're both system guys and we both have my background's a little bit different, but systems and processes. So as your business has grown, what systems or processes are really driving behind the scenes results, I guess we could say? You
Definitely,
mentioned GPT. That's one
yeah.
that changed the game for a lot of
Oh,
people.
that's changed a lot. That's helped. You understand there's a lot of bias in AI. People have to be careful and use discernment because they think they're going to get an answer from ChatGPT or any of these platforms, but that's not the case. You tell it what it's kind of garbage in, garbage out. It's what you tell it to do and what's going to do for you, right? So, but I'm in the construction business too. We act as an EPC, we're an engineering procurement contractor. We build sites out as well for others.
I did not know that.
Oh
Expand,
yeah,
yeah, tell us a
yeah,
little more about that.
yeah. So as part of building as an owner operator, I realized that hey, we have an expertise here. We've gone through the trenches and the failures and the money losing, making mistakes and figuring out how to build these sites. Okay, and I realized actually kind of people came to me. I didn't go out looking for it. It just kind of I had one or two requests. Hey, can you build this for me? And then it turned into, hey, I could actually do this as another vertical of my business. And that's what we do now. We have a pipeline of projects. We've got a couple here in Chicago. We got 3, 4 sites in the pipeline. In Colorado, we've got 2 there. So, and we're nationwide, so we have interest throughout the country. But yeah, we kind of fell into that whole space as well.
There it is again. Just keep showing up, and things seem to present
But
themselves as you go.
but I'll tell you what, I always this happened a couple of years ago. This happened 2023. We got into that space.
Okay,
But what's interesting enough, as I said, I always have an ear to my competitors, and my competitors do the same thing.
interesting.
So I realized, wow, they're doing the same thing I'm doing. I'm a nobody, I'm a small business. These are
There it is
billion
with the
dollar companies.
pioneer mindset.
That's the pioneer mindset. But you see how you keep going. You see what works, what doesn't work, and then things kind of fall into your lap without even. I never planned to do that, but it worked.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally understand that, and I'm going to shift gears on us a little bit with just the industry across energy and infrastructure. I think we're in a really unique period where we're seeing a lot of real change across the industry, and so the question I have is what's happening right now that you think most people are underestimating?
So at a 35,000 foot view looking down, right? Gas prices are $5, $6 a gallon. Super's like I don't here in Chicago, it's $6 a gallon for super right now. Right? That's pretty excessive. And
Crazy.
obviously, the Strait of Hormuz is shut down right now. Nothing's happening anytime soon. And the EV drivers are laughing all the way to the bank right now because they're paying. They're probably paying 70% off of their gas price. Okay, so we've got AI data centers exploding everywhere. Everything is going electric from that's at least the government's perspective, from your oven to HVAC pumps. They're going from to electric. Everything, cars are going electric. Everything's going electric, right? Which is a tremendous increase in energy that's going to be required. So the current administration has made an effort. They've signed into legislation to get, most importantly, they got to win the AI race. So they're pushing for these things. Now, for these data centers to get up and running, a lot of things have to happen. And where it's going to affect me as a building EV charging stations, it has to do with transformers, switchgear, distribution panels, conduit, things like that, that normally take a long time to get. Sometimes Distribution panels can take up to 16 weeks, 24 weeks, depending. Transformers can take up to 80 weeks, depending on the specs, how big they are, things like that. So if we could streamline that, get that time frame down, get the cost, reasonable, so people
At least leveled in some way.
yeah, yeah. But on energy, I believe, look, the investment that's gone into the EV space is tremendous.
It sure
Kia
is.
invested over 20 billion on producing EVs. Volvo is going all electric. It's I think year to year now, like the next 2 years. I go on, and the governments support it. They want it. It's gonna happen. And I think
Right.
the big thing everyone's waiting for, and the technology exists today, where cars will charge. Right now, there's range anxiety. People are worried about, oh, I got to wait an hour to charge my car. It only got 250, 300-mile range. That's going to change. It's going to double the range and charge in less than 10 minutes. That exists,
Yeah.
and it's coming. So we need chargers out there. That's the biggest thing. We have to get chargers out to
And that's where you come in.
that's where we come in, and we're going to fill that void and that need. So,
Well, and another thing you mentioned that you're also a contractor for all this as well, actually doing the trade part of it, installing and all that. And I think that's another thing that people are underestimating. Everyone's looking at AI thinking it's just going to revolutionize everything. We're going to have universal basic income and all these things. But I really don't think it's the case. I think people are underestimating the need for skilled workers, for tradesmen, for people running cable, working on PLCs. I mean, I think that's another thing people are really underestimating too. Would you agree with that, or what are your thoughts on that?
absolutely, Alex. Look at your background. You worked in manufacturing. You see what it takes. I mean, yes, they're building robotics now that could do these things. I think that's way off. I think that's down the road. But
Way off.
we need people. I think it'll shift. Just like when we had the horse, they had horses before cars, right? And there's so many.
Like revolution.
Right. They thought when the car was invented, that's it. Life's over. It's done. Everyone's gonna lose their jobs, and what happened? It revolutionized everything. Things just more jobs were created or different jobs were created. I believe the same thing's gonna happen.
100%. It reminds me of because obviously cars are before our lifetime, but it reminds me of when Netflix came out and streaming came out and Blockbuster started closing and everyone in the industry is like, there's going to be no TV and now there's more actors and actresses and opportunity for smaller places, documentaries. I mean, streaming, everyone thought it was going to kill the industry. And from all the data that I've looked at, it's actually exploded it just in a little bit different of a way.
Right.
A little bit on I like to talk to a lot of our guests about like forward signals or things that they're seeing, right? So if you're looking ahead like 12 to 18 months as a business owner, what are those important things that you're watching and measuring and looking at to make sure that you're on track?
I keep a close eye on my competition, see what they're doing. The really big guys. I see that's kind of the big ship rudder. The moves that they make will predict. They see what's coming, so I use that as a tool,
Okay.
and
Good
because they have
indicator.
access to a lot of data research, things that I don't, right? So, and then key eye on, like I said, the government's influence on infrastructure, because EV charging is all about infrastructure, energy. What's going on with energy? The cost of energy. I don't know if you're familiar with SMRs, small modular reactors. The current administration has unlocked to get nuclear energy done, to get it up and running. And there's something called, they're modular, they're small module nuclear reactors, and they put out 40 megawatts. They're small, okay? They can never melt down. It's new technology. They're sodium based, they're safe. They could never thermal runaway or cause any damage like 3 Mile Island. And so I'm keeping a close eye because I'm in the energy business, right? I'm dispensing electricity. That's how I make my money. So I'm keeping a very close look. The situation right now in the world is really bad. So I'm keeping an eye on, and I believe in the next 6 months, we're going to see a big shift in policy with energy. So it's going to affect my business. So I'm keeping a very close eye on that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And I know I already touched on AI and how that's having an impact, but I want to ask more of a specific question on AI and leverage. how are you thinking about as a business owner, specifically with the industry that you're in with renewable energy and things of that nature? How are you thinking about AI and automation and things like that in your space? And where do you see it creating leverage? And where do you see it creating distraction and just being noise?
Yeah. Well, in my space, the EV charging side, it's a tremendous help on this on the back end side, on the software side, where it manages and dispensing of kilowatts and dealing with supply demand peak chart with utilities, okay, and with customer interface. Phenomenal. There's a lot of tools there that it's great. Where it hurts us, I'm trying to think. I don't see any negatives on my end in terms of EV charging. Any negatives there because we're charging cars, we're doing EV charging
Right,
specifically, so I don't see how AI will affect us in any way. It's only going to
right,
help us, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to customer interaction and protocols, and then also dispensing electricity. There's a whole, the back end is very complicated. There's a lot of moving parts, and AI can help tremendously manage all that and get KPIs and help us fine tune to increase our profits, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. I think I told you on our pre-podcast call when we were chatting that I also have a family business that's been around for 36 years, and we go around painting fire hydrants, and that's really what I've seen too. Is a lot of people they get caught up and distracted by like the bells and whistles of all of it, but they don't realize that there's a lot of very simple tools that you can implement into your business. And I tell people you can have your people working less on trivial tasks and start actually working on revenue generating activities. And
Yeah.
AI doesn't get tired. It'll work 24/7 if you ask it to. It won't burn out. It won't ask to go to its family. And then on the flip side of that, it's like people want to have, we've never had more of a discussion about like work life balance and all these types of things. And people, I think a lot of people have started looking at careers as just like a job. I got to punch in, I got to punch out. And I think AI is really going to make a difference in that aspect too, where people are actually going to have more meaningful jobs. Short term, it might be scary. But I think people with the right head on their shoulders and people with the right mind, it's actually going to open up a lot more opportunities. So, wow, this has been a wonderful conversation. I do have one question that I want to kind of close us out on.
Yeah.
I hit a lot of our guests with this one. But what do you think? And again, speaking personally about you, what do you think's been the biggest shift that you've had to be able to grow into this role of being an entrepreneur, a CEO of your company, and really being a growth minded company? What's the biggest shift for you personally?
For me, I'll be honest, it's been a really rough road. I'm going to be honest, okay? It's been a lot, climbing. So getting back up and the fact of resiliency, literally, if I could tell you how many times we've been out of business, literally, like, things just fall apart. And then, but you don't give up. And it's a mentality of just keep going. You're never gonna fail. If you just get up, keep going, have faith, and keep moving forward. Um, it's just in my blood. I'm trying to think, anything, something technical I could tell you, like mind shift. Not really.
I think
It's
that though.
yeah. I think it's just resiliency. I think that's the biggest thing is that, you know, anybody who owns a business knows that 30 years and then within 60 days you could be out of business. Something changes in the market, a new technology comes by and puts you out of business, like Netflix Blockbuster, right? Same thing.
Be
But
agile.
I've learned that you can always be agile, build resiliency, and guess what? There's always an opportunity. Even if something great comes next that kills you, jump on, make it work to where you can take advantage of it.
Well, I think it reminds me, you said it perfect, never give up. It's like and of course everybody knows this, but Winston Churchill's famous speech, never give up, never give up, never give up, never give up. And I think that really is a perfect way to end this. Ted, this was solid, man. I really appreciate the conversation. It was nice that we got to actually talk about things that will help other entrepreneurs and not get so much caught up in the minutia of the finer details. So I think you gave a lot of good insights, especially for people that are newer to being business owners, people that are seasoned and really need that extra push of motivation. So yeah, I thought the podcast was fantastic. Ted, I want to make sure that I tell everybody we'll have your bio and your company in the description underneath this episode when we post it. Make sure you guys connect with Ted on LinkedIn, check out his website, check out what they're doing over at Supercharge. And Ted, I definitely want to give you the opportunity if you want to close out or let the audience know anything else.
Yeah, very excited, Alex. So it's a great opportunity to be on your show. And once again, we're owner operators. We're Supercharge is growing. We're a small company. We're growing rapidly nationwide. And we also act as an EPC, an engineering procurement company. We build sites and we offer joint venture opportunities to build locations. We have the expertise. We'd love to help. If you'd like to find out what it takes to build a site, we'd love to get you on the call.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, that's our guest, Ted from Supercharge. Like I said, we'll have everything in the bio and the link for Ted in the description section of the podcast. Again, I'm your host, Alex Durante. Thank you for listening to the Grid Shift podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.